Selamat sejahtera to Dr. Azhar and to the classmates. So we are from Group 7 to present about the comparison analysis for National Budget 2019-2020 and 2021 for transport and communication sector. My name is Nurul Imanina binti Nasir, method number 267905. Actually, for the introduction, the national budget means an estimate made by the government on its revenue and expenditure for the next year. It serves as a planning tool and management of the national economic research for the needs of the pupil. The budget is presented by the Minister of Finance on behalf of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in Parliament on the last Friday of September and the second Friday of the last October. But for this year, they were extended on November. The national budget behaves in three situations where its firstly budget deficit occurs about a significant amount of the revenue for a given fiscal year. Second, excess budget, the amount of government revenue is a large amount for a certain fiscal year. Third, balanced budgets occurs the total amount is equal to the revenue for a particular last year. Okay, for transport sector, transport sector is a group of companies offering facilities for the movement of people or goods as well as transport service. This sector are divided to sub as with air cargo and manufacturing, aircraft, marine, rail, freight, airline companies, road, and service center. The field of transport plays an effective part in organizing a country development program. Transport can be separated into various forms. It can be categorized into several categories, including ground transport, sea transport, air transport, rail transport, and line transport, whether they are connected to the mode of transport. Okay, this is a main highlight for the 3 year for the transport sector for budget, national budget. 2019, the government introduced the as unlimited monthly My50 and My100 for all services, rapid L, race, and bus. This means My50 just only used boleh digunakan RM50 dalam masa sebulan untuk menaiki bas atau rapid L sahaja. Bagi My100 digunakan kepada semua penganggota awam seperti bas, LRT, BRT, MRT, perantara bas. Dan dia sama juga untuk 100 untuk sebulan tanpa limit. This scheme has been for over 120,000 public transport users. The government has also launched the Pure Pass in Penang, which provides unlimited travel for a month for RMTC, rapid bus, and rapid ferry services. For 2020, transport hub sector received the highest amount of RM12.2 billion. The government plans to have access to 500 electric buses of different sizes at a cost of RM100 million for public transport. For 2021, in billion ringgit is provided, which is the development project such as Highway Project Plan Borneo, Damas Electric Twin Track, Johor Bahru, and the Klang Between Phase 1, and also transit system rapid from Johor Bahru to Woodlands, Singapore, and the Klang Valley MRT3. For communication sector, the communication sector generally described as a transfer information activity. In the 1930s, the communication sector started the development of the telegraph, which is the first communication electronic system. In 1985, Factor 450 is the country's first wireless telephone system was launched by the Telecommunication Department, symbolizing the launch of mobile networks on the shores of Malaysia. This department controls by sector operation until 1997, when its functions were moved to Telekom Malaysia Berhad or TMB. For budget communication sector on national budget 2020, and 21.6 billion allocated to National Federation Connectivity Plan (NFCP), RM250 million allocated to the interior of Sabah and Sarawak for internet infrastructure grant Rm 50 million for 5G ecosystem development. Such matching grant amounting to Rm 24 million for 5G pilot projects such as blockchains, IoT, and more. For National Budget 2021, government has allocated Rm 9.4 billion to develop a holistic national digital strategy across the industrial sector and operations. The allocation is also able to provide better telecommunication infrastructure with the Prihati Network Program and the National Digital Network Jendela Initiative. I will proceed to the next presenter.
Okay, moving into my part is ideas, issue, and assumption. Okay, for starter, we will look for budget 2019. Budget 2019 themes was a resurgent nation, a dynamic economy, and a prosperous society. Okay, for 2019, government to encourage public transport adoption. After housing expenses, transportation expenses are the biggest spending item. Most households do not only own one vehicle, but many own two vehicles. Typically, the monthly expenses for a Polestar Myvi are around 900 ringgit after taking into account the monthly installment, petrol, parking fees, and maintenance. Apart from that, Rm 50 ringgit unlimited monthly pass for Rapid KL bus only is also available. This campaign will expanded to cover other bus companies in stage. This scheme will increase household disposable income by several hundred ringgit per month. Syarikat Prasarana Berhad, which is a government-owned public transport subsidiary, will improve its bus service network by making full use of the latest asset, including 1,131 Rapid KL bus, 408 Rapid Penang bus, 69 Kuantan Rapid bus, and 300 MRT Intermediate bus. Furthermore, cost reduction for LRT 3 and MRT 2 can also increase operational sustainability, which allow fare to be charged at lower price for public transport users. Thus, this will encourage the use of public transport as well as reduce the use of cars and maintenance of road infrastructure. To improve public transport coverage in Kuala Lumpur, the BKL will allocate of 20 million ringgit to provide free Go KL bus services in addition to the 4 existing routes. The government will provide the public transport loan fund with a fund through Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad of 500 million ringgit, which offers a 2% interest rate subsidy incentive to taxis and bus companies as well as public transport operators. The government is also concerned about the issue of toll increase, and the government will freeze toll increase on all urban highways intracity toll in 2019, which involve financial implication of 700 million. The cost of 700 million is covered by the government. Then the government will give priority to the Johor Causeway route and the second route in Singapore to reduce difficulty faced by Malaysian and residents who take commute daily. Okay, next we will go for budget 2020. The budget 2020 theme was Share Prosperity, Sustainable, Inclusive Growth Towards a High-Income Economy. Okay, government want to enhance the transportation ecosystem, which is the provision of good national public transport not only facilitates the people but also plays a role in generating country's economy. Ahead of the presentation of 2020 budget, the people of this country hope that the government will further improve the country public transport system in addition to giving free assistance pass to the less fortunate. The government intends to provide up to 500 electric bus of varying size at a cost of 450 million ringgit for public transport in selected cities across the country. For the convenience of the rural population, the government will continue to support last mile connection in rural and urban areas by subsidizing bus operators, with an allocation of 446 million ringgit by 2020. In addition, citizens can also enjoy an average discount of 18% on all Plus owned highways. This can reduce the burden of highway toll on highway users. Okay, moving to the 2021. As we look for budget 2021, the theme was Stand United, We Shall Prevail, was tabled in Parliament on 6 November 2020. Economic growth is expected to rebound to 7.5 into 7.5% in 2021. Malaysian economy is projected to recover from pre-crisis peaks in 2021, backed by fiscal expansion and accommodative monetary policy. The government is expected to begin increasing spending in 2021 to help increase economic growth and mitigate the impact of the pandemic. Private investment will rise, motivated by sustained resumption of economic activities. Okay, for 2021, government want to focus on integration of public transport and cheap fares for the people. As we know, the global pandemic of COVID-19 has changed the way we live and work. Government, companies, workers, and the broader society around the world have had to adapt and learn to work in environment of uncertainty, at least in the near future. Budget 2021 was thus a highly awaited occurrence, not least because it is a budget under a new government and a global health crisis. It is also a continuation the economic stimulus package that had been launched since early 2020 and which have so far amounted to over 300 billion ringgit, with a total allocation of 322.5 billion ringgit. Budget 2021 is the biggest or highest ever in the country history, with a view to boosting economic resilience, safeguarding the well-being of rakyat and improving healthcare in the country. Therefore, the 2021 budget through the Ministry of Transport, more people will receive the benefits of cheap fares and existing facilities will be upgraded. Through my 30 ringgit unlimited monthly pass incentive with a price of 30 ringgit per month, it is not only the Klang Valley residents who will be expanded for consumer in Kuantan, Pahang and Pulau Pinang. Users only need to pay RM30 ringgit per month to enjoy unlimited travel pass for public transport, including bus and trains. For my 30 ringgit, which is extended to Kuantan and Pulau Pinang, allows passenger to use my rapid pass only. Okay, economic outlook growth to rebound in 2021. GDP growth is forecast to recover to 6.5% into 7.5% in 2021 from a contraction of 4.5% in 2020. Top growth sector in 2021 is coming from construction, which is covered for 13.9%, services, which is covered for 7.0%, and manufacturing, which is 7.0%. As for fiscal policy, government made an expansionary budget 2021, which is the largest expenditure in history, amounting to RM 322.5 billion ringgit, with fiscal deficit projected at 5.4% of GDP in 2021. The development expenditures 30% increase in development expenditure in 2021 to RM69 billion, which focus on transport, rural infrastructures and regional development. The economic sector expenditure registration is expected to be RM 28.5 billion, in particular the upgrade of the infrastructure for public transport and communication access, enhance public service, strengthen agriculture and rural growth, and increase trade and industrial activities. The transportation segment is allocating 10.2 billion mainly to fund Pan Borneo Highway construction, the electrified dual track network, Mass Rapid Transit 2, which is MRT2, and Klang Valley Double Track Phase 1, KVDT1, infrastructure and system upgrade. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Nazimi bin Muhammad Zaini, matric number 262689. Today I will present about the communication sector budget. First, we look at the 2019 budget. Malaysian budget 2019 themed a surgent Malaysia, a dynamic economy, and a prosperous society, which is it has three focus areas. First, implement the institutional reforms. Second, ensure the socio-economy well-being of Malaysian. And number three, the foster an entrepreneur economy. Okay. Second, RM3 billion industry digitalization transformation funds which subsidize 2% interest rates under Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad to accelerate the adoption of smart technologies. For number 3, RM2 billion ringgit under the Business Loan Guarantee Scheme, we call as SJPP, which the government guarantee up to 70%. This was incentive to the SME for them to invest in automation and modernizations. Number 4, RM 210 million ringgit allocate from 2019 to 2021. Which is this was to support the transaction and the migrations to the industry 4.0. Number 5, 1 billion ringgit allocate to develop the national broadband infrastructure through the launch of the National Fibre Connectivity Plan. Next, we go to the year 2020. Okay, this 2020 budget reflects the government's commitment to increase the connectivity throughout the countries in preparing Malaysians to the digital transformation. This will lead the country with the digital infrastructure development through the Nation Fabrication and Connectivity Plan, or we call as NFCP. This will ensure the business sector and the people will reap the benefits of digital economy when the country move towards the 5G era and for industrial revolution, or we call as 4.0 industry. For number 3, National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan will provide comprehensive high-speed broadband coverage and high-quality digital network to the nationwide. This will including the rural area, involving the investment of RM 21.6 billion through the public and the private sector. The government's announced the allocation for RM 210 million to accelerate the deployment of digital infrastructure for the public building, especially like a school and high impact areas such as the industrial park. Budget 2021, the allocation of RM 9.4 billion was announced to develop the national digital strategy across the industry sector, and the people is seen as capable to close the gap holistically. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or we call as MCMC, said that the allocation would be able to provide better telecommunications infrastructure with the Prihatin network programs. According to MCMC, the Prihatin network program will cost about RM 1.5 billion. This will benefit 8 million people in the B40 groups. Under the Jendela program, the government has allocated RM 500 million for 2021 to ensure the connectivity of 430 schools around the Malaysia. This was for the development for the future generation. Number 5, according to MCMC, first phase of Jendela has started and will be continued until 2022. This will give focus on efforts to expand the access of cable broadbands, which the speed up to 1 gigabyte to 7.4 million premise around the Malaysia.
So I'm going to present about the recommendation. So post-COVID-19, consumers have modified their conduct and preference to use logistics services, which is to deliver end-to-end devices and commercial goods of different sizes. So as a result, many logistic firms shifted their demand for mail and online supply services from B2B, which is business to business, to B2C, business to consumer models. So in 2019, the logistic and transport sectors plays a key role in national growth, especially as the main pillars of the economy are export and manufacturing. As we know, in 2019 and 2020, the transportation have been given the biggest amount of money. So in order to improve the country's transport system, the government will invest about $2.46 billion on upgrades and restoration of the railways. So one of the ideas is to set up a parliamentary committee is to supervise public transport. So a parliamentary committee's presence will enhance trust in public transport. So in open planning and discussion will improve planning and decision making. So the committee will assist parliamentarians and the public in understanding the proposal of bus operators and the government to achieve the best plans. So the second one is Single National Public Transport Authority will establish national standards. So while local and regional public transport authorities will plan and implement local strategies. So there must be an own local and regional public transport authority for each economic region of the country. So to be responsible for the bus and transportation routes and the future of public transport. So more buses and railways wagons are also available. So the third one is to build improved downstream public transport. So this one is the third recommendation, which is for the bus lanes are not a common driver solutions. But we need to remember that bus routes and bus transport service can operate in Malaysia and the Klang Valley. So we should think about developing public transport around the world rather than wasting all our money alone on the Klang Valley. So that's all from me.
Thank you for the previous presentation. So, for the conclusion, we can conclude that the transportation sector expenses are the largest spending. The achievement of this sector is becoming a valuable improving Malaysia's global economic and development. The transition from ownership to the use of public transport, or increasing the uses of public transport, because for budget 2020, the government took the Malaysian use public transport. So, with that, government introduced a monthly pass of RM100 without a travel limit for using bus, LRT, and others. For communication sector, the communication infrastructure investment affect the economic growth of the country just like the infrastructure investment. The contribution of the communication infrastructure investment to the countries with economic growth can be seen in the various aspects, including as an efficient information delivery to provide network externality, reduce transaction costs, increase efficiency, productivity, and living standards, and create employment opportunities. Thus, achievement of the sector can see where in 2019 have 100 new communication towers, 100 in Sabah and Sarawak, 793 electric transmitters were upgraded to provide 5G technology. So that's all from our group. Thank you.